Sounds good. So these guys are up in St. Leo for a little thing next weekend. Yeah, West Florida at St. Leo, up in St. Leo. And Thanksgiving they're over in Eckerd. No Hawaii this year, so we're done with men till December. Is this mine or is this every both? This is mine? Okay. Three different three different career records. Do you want to hold this or you'll do you want to hold it? No.
And a one, two, three.
All right.
A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sounds good. You're in English.
I
That
am.
helps.
Yes. C.
Okay. I did that when I went to get a new phone,
Oh, really?
and I told the guy, I said, I only need it in English. And he looks at me like, okay.
Okay. But it
I
does
said,
have all the other options.
And I said, but I know, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of Hispanics down
Yeah,
here, but I don't need Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Never cracked a smile. 。
Yeah. clutch free throws down the stretch. I forget who it was, but they did.
Biffle hit a few.
Yeah. Hey, the Buccaneers are behind.
Well, it's 3-3. What is it now?
6-3.
Okay. Shootout.
Washington has the ball inside the Bucs 20 as the game heads to the fourth quarter. 6-3 in the fourth quarter.
Nothing but field goals.
Yeah.
Well, that's better than the 35-0 or whatever it was at halftime last week.
The defense at least came to play today.
Yeah. Same thing? Okay. Every other one? Okay. You ready to go? Fired up? Gonna have a good broadcast? Good effort. Nice.
Dick Vitale says, I gave my tickets away today because of a schedule problem. Bucks are down 6-3 heading to the fourth. I would have given my tickets away too. I will never go to a Bucks game. I've decided.
We did last year.
Did you?
We got free ones.
Yeah.
And first game of the year was about 90
Yeah.
against the Bears, and I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And the Bears sucked, which is bad when they're playing the Bucks.
Yeah.
So we left at halftime.
Did you?
It was just way too hot.
When they chose Winston, I said I will never go. When they had, the big debate with Mariota, and I know Mariota hasn't been, the second coming of Joe Namath, but he's still a better individual than this guy.
Yep.
As has been proven
But
over
every
and over.
time Jameis does something wrong, he says he's learned from it.
Yeah, learn from it. Yeah, and it's humbling when you learn over and over again.
Eventually, people are going to say, you keep crying wolf.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go at 3 then?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. You good?
Yep.
Perfect.
What conference are these guys again? Gulf Coast?
Gulf South.
Gulf South.
Yeah, Gulf South Conference. And it's, again, a crossover challenge.
Right.
With the,
All set? Okay.
And good afternoon and welcome everybody to University of Tampa men's basketball from the Bob Martinez Center, right here on the campus of the University of Tampa. The Spartans get ready to take on the Alabama Huntsville Chargers in what has become the de facto championship game of this Sunshine State Conference Gulf South Conference crossover matchup, where there are 4 teams in town, 2 from the SSC and 2 from the Gulf South Conference. Spartans with a win over Montevallo yesterday, and Alabama Huntsville with a win over St. Leo. Hi everybody, Jack Ike along with Scott Lynn. We're a couple minutes away from tip-off of this game, and both teams coming in with 1-0 records. And Scott, it seemed like both teams had pretty good starts to the season yesterday, played well.
Yeah, not bad. Alabama Huntsville got a 69-57 win over St. Leo. St. Leo scored the first 7 in that game, led by 7 on a few occasions, but the Chargers of Alabama Huntsville went on a 19-2 run, starting with with about 2 minutes left in the first half. They shot 53% for the game, made 11 of 23 from beyond the arc. That's some good perimeter shooting. So they looked pretty good yesterday, and it'll be a real challenge for the Spartans, who did win their game over Mount Alamo 63-61, a game that went right down to the final seconds. They did hit a three-pointer to make it a 2-point margin. The Spartans were up by 5 thanks to converted free throws down the stretch. But again, coming off a 10-16 season a year ago, the Spartans very happy to get a W in their opener, and they try to make it 2-0 here today.
Well, we did see some good things from Tampa in that they've got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with, yet they still had a really nice team effort to get the win yesterday, missing one of their, who will be a key player as the season goes on, and that's Marco Downer, who's sitting out a couple games due to an NCAA situation, but he'll be ready to go and back in a couple games.
Yeah, and they'll be happy to see him because at 6'9", he's the tallest player on the roster. Right now, the one thing that stood out yesterday was, yes, the Spartans did out-rebound their opponent, but they had to do it with pure hustle and energy and blocking out like crazy because they're really only 6'6", 6'7". That's their tallest guys, and they were outsized even yesterday. And bottom line, they did what they had to do to win. And you mentioned Downer. Yes, he'll be a key factor. They also are without right now due to injuries Devon Colley, who might be their starting point guard once he returns from injury. However, all things considered, it's not bad when you have Alberto Moreno playing point the way he did yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt about that. One thing to watch from Alabama Huntsville, they did shoot really well yesterday, over 50%, but they were 50% from three-point range, and just about half their shots were three-pointers.
Yeah, they really do space the floor. They move the ball well, people and ball movement. They're going to get open shots, and it'll be up to the Spartans to try to get out there to defend the perimeter.
So both teams come in 1-0. We get ready for what is the championship game of this crossover classic, and we will get it underway right after we have the national anthem as the Spartans get ready to take on the Alabama Huntsville Chargers. We'll have the starting lineups in just a second, but now we'll take a little break for the national anthem. Moments away from tip-off here. I want to welcome everybody back to another season of University of Tampa basketball. Scott and I will be doing all of University of Tampa men's and women's basketball home games. And welcome anybody from the Alabama Huntsville listening audience. And we are okay. We know we have the Alabama Huntsville radio person next to us. We're okay if you put on our video and listen to him. He's a good broadcaster.
That's okay with us, yeah. And a good guy, too. Yes. So there you go.
And he said, I said, boy, it's been hot down here. And he goes, I don't mind. I love it. It's about 38 up in Huntsville.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to look forward to midweek when it's going to cool down into the 60s with a high in the low 70s. I do enjoy that kind of weather.
Yes, we'll be ready for that. Starting lineups for today's game. Starting for the Alabama Huntsville Chargers is 0, Malik Cook-Strope, a 6'2 junior from Homewood, Alabama. Number 12, a sophomore, Seth Swalve, a 5'11 sophomore from Coleman, Alabama. Number 13 is Sam Orth, 6'2 sophomore from St. Charles, Missouri. Number 15 is Tanner Finley, a 6'5 senior from Madison, Alabama. And number 25 is J.J. Kaplan, a 6'5 sophomore from Huntsville, Alabama. They're coached by Lenny Acuff. Assistant coaches are Anthony Kamara, Spencer Palmer, Peyton Morris, and Taylor Edge. Starting lineups for the Tampa Spartans. They will start with number 1, Alberto Moreno, a 6'3 junior from Enginio, Gran Canaria, which is an island just off the coast of Spain. Number 13 is Vincent Biffle, and he is a 6'2 junior from Indianapolis, Lawrence Central High School. Number 21, Anthony Gamble, a homegrown boy from Riverview, Florida, Newsom High School. 6'5 senior, can shoot the lights out. Don't let him get open. Just a word of caution to the other teams. Number 23, Cedric Bellamine. He is a newcomer to the Spartan squad, 6'7", from Brazzaville, Congo. Went to Miami-Dade College, an athletic player for the Spartans. And number 25 is Pat Bacon, a 6 foot, 175-pound senior from Indianapolis, Lawrence North High School. The Spartans are coached by Richard Schmidt. Associate head coach is Justin Pecka. Teams coming out, getting ready for the start of this game. Orth, 9 of 11 yesterday. The guards were hot. He had 22 points, 4 of 5 from three-point line.
Yeah, he loves playing against St. Leo. In his collegiate debut a year ago when he was a freshman, he scored 13 against St. Leo, and then he had the big career-high 22-point game yesterday.
Jumping center will be Bellamine. Jumping against J.J. Kaplan. Spartans in the white jerseys going left to right.
You don't see a big towering presence for the Alabama Huntsville team. They're, in fact, jumping center is a 6'5 guard.
Neither team tall for this game anyway. Vincent Biffle gets it, hands it back to Moreno. Man-to-man out of the opening possession. Moreno bouncing it into Bellamine. See if he can post up, off balance, tips it around, gets his own rebound, goes back, and is fouled. Tried to flip it up behind his head, got fouled as he tried that.
Bellamine was underneath the basket, and it looked like he just may have gone right straight up and hit the bottom of the backboard. I didn't see a foul, but apparently there was underneath. We didn't have the good angle that the officials had.
You are correct.
20 seconds into this opening half.
Bellamine had 6 points, a couple of block shots in his debut for the Spartans yesterday.
And bounces it around and tumbles it through. 1-0 Tampa.
It'll be interesting to see if the Spartans continue to go to Bellamine. It would look like that was the plan. Go inside and let's see what he can do. Maybe they like that matchup.
Misses the second, 1-0, and first possession. That is Swalve with the ball, or Orth, I should say, with the ball. That's Swalve. Kaplan. Swalve, he likes the three as well. Orth driving on Bellamine, nowhere to go, and Bellamine takes it. He's going to try to dash coast to coast. Almost travels, and we said he did.
Yep. Well, he went up and blocked the shot and just grabbed it in the air at the other end, and then tried to do a little too much going coast to coast.
He had players left and right of him, and then ran into traffic. Stays 1-0, Huntsville across the timeline. That's Swalve. Kaplan. Finley to the corner. Cook Strope. Orth missing it, and Vincent Biffle with the rebound. That's Bacon. Top of the key, Bacon gets a pick. Nowhere to go after that. Biffle launches from 3. Rims out. Tipped back to Bacon. Into the hands of Biffle, who hands it to Moreno.
Great tip by Moreno coming from the weak side. Got his hand on it and tipped it to a teammate.
A little give and go to Moreno, and he got pulled back as he was trying to get the pass back to him.
We talked about this yesterday, that the coaching staff is really impressed with the way Alberto Moreno has played. He is playing some of the best basketball he's ever played here on campus. very confident in his abilities, and that confidence coming to the fore with him basically running the point.
And that helps the Spartans because it moves Pat Bacon to a shooting position. Anthony Gamble, somebody mentioned he can shoot if you leave him open.
He didn't have a lot of opportunities yesterday. He only scored 6 points, had 3 rebounds as well. But bottom line is he can fill it up, and they know that.
Suave tried to drive, or Orff, I should say, tried to drive, went down, foul was called.
I think it was held ball.
Held ball. Possession arrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it was Moreno getting a hand on it, knocking that ball free, so they're very aggressive. Oops, forgot somebody.
Inside to Kaplan, who was left unattended.
Just trying to give them props about how good they're playing defense, and then the guy gets wide open on the inbound.
Biffle. Moreno on the drive, puts it up off the glass and knocks it home. 5-2 Tampa.
Well, I really like the way he's playing the point. Able to penetrate. He can shoot from the outside too, but he really is doing a great job of penetrating and either scoring or dishing off.
Kaplan backing in. Biffle held his ground. 10 on the shot clock. Suave looking, nowhere to go. 3 on the shot clock. Quick stroke, drives off the glass, and I think he got fouled seconds before the shot clock.
Good job of defense there for about 28 and a half seconds. And then the foul was committed.
It'll be a 2-shot foul. Cook Stroke to the line.
Cook Stroke scored 9 in the game yesterday, the win over St. Leo. He averaged 8.9 points a year ago, so it looks like 9 points is about what we could expect from him, although he has scored a career-high 19 on a couple of occasions.
Misses the second. 5-3 Tampa. Biffle quickly into the front court. Now it appears, I thought we were seeing a zone. No, it isn't. Still man. Just a switching man. Moreno. He put up a couple rainmakers that found nothing but net yesterday. Both of us were kind of surprised. I don't remember seeing that much arc on his shots.
Yeah, it was as high as it was deep from the perimeter.
Little drive down the middle, no good. Biffle with the rebound. That was Finley missing the shot. Gamble losing it momentarily. Bacon's going to launch a 3. Off the rim, no good. Cleared by Kaplan. Orff with the ball. At this point, the Spartans have been pretty good about denying any 3-point opportunities.
Yeah, they really have, and they're switching out on top. You saw Bellamy come over and take the guard coming off the top.
Shot clock running down. 3 on the way, though, and Biffle rebounds.
Suave with the miss there. He can shoot that shot.
Little jumper, no good, though. Bellamy clears it. And another offensive rebound for Tampa.
Didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock continues.
16 seconds.
Inside, Bellamy. Free throw line jumper. Off the rim, no good. Both teams a little bit cold right now.
Yeah, both teams under 30% from the floor.
Credit some defense for that to this point. Just 5 minutes into this game. Orff has it batted away from him. He doesn't like the no call. Biffle, Bellamy, lay up in.
A lot of times when you bring that arm down at the defensive play, you'll get a whistle, but it looked like he got all ball, knocked it cleanly away, and then started the fast break.
Finley looking to bounce, goes back outside to Suave, drives on Bacon, Bacon with the body.
That little bump.
Clock now under 16 minutes. That'll be the under 16 timeout. 14:26 to go in the first half. It is Tampa 7 and Alabama Huntsville 3. 14:26 first half. 7-3 Tampa on top. Both teams not exactly burning it up yet.
No, Spartans just 3 of 9, 33%. The Chargers are 2 and make it 1 of 5, 20%. No made three-pointers yet for either side. There's going to be Brent Duncan, I saw, was at the scorer's table when the timeout was called, so he'll be coming into the game. He had a nice game yesterday.
He did.
Played 28 minutes, had 5 points, a couple of rebounds, and again, he was a guy who has been hurt. We talked about it yesterday. He had been hurt. He had his second back surgery in May. Was finally cleared for full practice just last Thursday. So we thought conditioning might be an issue, but he seemed to be okay yesterday in playing his 28 minutes. But he's had an injury-plagued career. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year, and the Spartans can really use him and his big 6'6", 210-pound body.
Justin Pekka was impressed with the minutes he got out of Brent. I said, I don't know if he has a jump shot, and he goes from 2 feet and in. But he gives you some muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. And good defense right there, and another held ball, and it's going to be the Spartans' ball.
Freddie Ibrahim also checking into the lineup. Bellarmine and Bacon to the bench for now.
And Huntsville has a new 4 out of 5. They replaced 80% of their lineup right now.
Let's see if we can get you everybody here. We've got number 35 on the court. That's Dalton Barkley out of Madison, Alabama. Number 21 is Kenny Lane from Atlanta, Georgia. And get the other.
33 is Shulman.
33 is Max Shulman from Chattanooga, Tennessee, a freshman.
Here we go.
Dalton Dodd, number 24.
Yep. Dalton Dodd, a freshman from Alexandria, Alabama. We were told they're young, and they're really young.
Yeah. And they'll all play. Kearney Lane, number 21, also in the game right now. So, yeah, they're going to play. They played 10 yesterday, and we were told they'll probably play more today.
They do have a lot on the bench. There's got to be 11 guys sitting on the bench.
They got 2 more teams over there.
Yeah. They're going to be like a hockey team. Just change lines. Suave, good. There's the 3, 7-6. Whereas Tampa has more in gray jerseys because they're hurt than they do have players available to come in.
Exactly.
7-6. Moreno on the drive. Foul called. Suave on the push. Third foul of the game.
The officials are Art Volk, Byron Rozier, and Clyde Mulla today.
So for the Spartans, both teams.
Ibrahim back out. Bacon back in. Now it looks like we're getting a zone out of this new group for the Chargers. A 1-2-2 zone. 4 on the shot clock. Moreno launches a deep one front of the rim. And I think over the back, Gamble might have got fouled over the back. He had rebound position. And that is correct. Foul was called on Lane, who we didn't get mentioned. Kenny Lane, we did, yes. Gamble, fade away, bounces around, no good. 7-6. Suave with the drive and first lead of the game for the Chargers, 8-7.
Great penetration and a fine finish with the left hand.
5 for Swald. Come back the other way. Into the hands of Swald. Swald is a redshirt sophomore. Swald, stolen by Moreno. He saw that one coming. Dashes to the other end, and the Spartans go up 9-8.
He's just playing so well at both ends of the floor. He got in a little bit of foul trouble yesterday and had to sit down for a few minutes, but if he's on the floor, he's the leader for sure.
There's a collision. Under the basket, foul called. That'll send Barkley to the line, I believe.
Now they said, I think, on the pass off.
Okay.
I think I saw that signal. Yeah. It was on Duncan. I assume Moreno was there as well, but that foul was on Duncan.
So Ibrahim back in. Bacon is out. Richard Schmidt having a discussion with Pat Bacon about some things that happened. Orff back in, guarded by Ibrahim. Shot clock down to 5. Barkley. Fade away, gets it off. Did get it off and got it in.
Well, he threw it up there because his teammates were saying, get it up, get it up. Shot clock, and he made a nice effort there.
That was Dodd hitting that one. And it's 10-9 Chargers.
Dodd, a true freshman from Alexandria, Alabama.
Moreno cuts through the lane and lost the ball, comes up limping.
Yeah,
holding his left ankle.
That would be a very bad sign. He landed awkwardly, and he is in great discomfort.
Yes. Over to the right side, he's pounding the wall at the other end. Doesn't look too thrilled about. He's really having trouble walking.
Yeah, Pat Bacon has already gone to the scorer's table to come in for him, and let's hope that they can get him back in at some point. But he's basically being assisted off the floor. That's the guy who's been playing the best basketball for the Spartans here in the preseason and yesterday's season opener. They'll try to tend to him right away. They might want to get ice on that immediately. And I don't know if we'll see him again today.
So 10-9, 11 minutes, 13 seconds left first half. Alabama Huntsville on top. Huntsville's got its shooting percentage up to 50%, just 4 of 8. Limited selection, but the Spartans have outdone them in terms of quantity of shots. They're 4 for 15. Some of that credit goes to the rebounding at the offensive end.
Well, as we mentioned at the outset, Devon Colley, who was penciled in as the starting point guard this season, is out with an injury. Won't play this, didn't play yesterday, won't play today. Now Moreno goes to the sideline injured, so that'll either put Pat Bacon or Freddie Ibrahim controlling the ball, most likely Bacon.
It's a one-point Charger.
Next man up in this case.
Yes. Eventually, they may run out of him. Backing in on Bacon, but he just kept pushing. One's going to go out of bounds, and it will be the Spartans' ball.
Well, you can see Bacon, that matchup wasn't to Pat Bacon's favor, that's for sure. Outweighed, outmuscled. Did all he could to keep the guy from getting to the hoop, but he got right to the rack.
Pass inside to Duncan, tipped away. He got in there, but he was surrounded by 3 or 4 Chargers and couldn't get a good, clean look. Top of the key is Lane. He gets it over onto the side, bounces it inside to Dodd. Turn around, jump hook in the lane, taken by Biffle.
Boy, Dodd is athletic. He got up high on that jump hook.
Biffle off the rim, no good, chasing it to the corner. And the Chargers come away. Orff across the timeline. Dodd launching at 3. Left him open and he knocked it down. 13-9, under 10 minutes.
Gives UAA a 4-point advantage.
Bacon off a Duncan pick. And a foul called as Bacon put up the shot. Foul is going to be on number 21, Lane. Bacon will go to the free throw line, 80+% shooter last year.
Attempted 2 free throws in this contest. Both teams are 1 of 2 at the free throw line collectively. Bacon looking for his first point.
And Bacon knocks it down. 13-10.
Well, Bacon, as you Tampa fans know, has been the leading scorer for the Spartans in most of his career. He averaged 19.2 points as a freshman and had an injury-riddled sophomore campaign, and then came back and scored 19 points again last season. So he's very capable of being one of the top scorers in the Sunshine State Conference.
He hit both free throws, making it 13-11, and Bellarmine back in the lineup for Brent Duncan. Moreno behind the Spartan bench tried running a little bit and still comes up limping.
They back off the full court and sink into a man-to-man defense. Leaf bounces it to
Cook stroke, hands off, now gets the ball back. Backing in Biffle. Still backing, in the lane, puts a shot, foul. First foul on Biffle. No, that might be his second. Nope, just his first. 2 shots for Cook Strope. First one rattles home. 14-11. And stays 14-11.
Spartans have got to find some offense. They've made only 1 of their last 8 field goal attempts and haven't made a hoop in the last 2:48.
And a steal. Dodd to the other end. Biffle tries to steal, but gets in his way. 2 quick fouls by Vincent Biffle.
But nonetheless, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
By Richard Schmidt doesn't like it, but Biffle reached in. So I'm not sure what the complaint is.
That Swab checks in. It's Tanner Finley, J.J. Kaplan, Malik Luke. It's a Swab to Sam Orff.
But Biffle has to sit now with 2 fouls. Ibrahim in.
Bring it over to Kaplan.
Orff bouncing it inside. Kaplan tries to lay it up, but he's fouled. And just into the lineup for the Spartans is Brendan Baker, number 32, a sophomore from Louisville, Texas. His dad played here a few years back.
Blowing the whistle pretty quickly.
And it'll put J.J. Kaplan at the line. First one good. 15-11. Short. Rebound Baker. Baker looks like he's bulked up a little since last year, too. Slender freshman. Bacon backs up and hits. That'll be a 2. 15-13.
Well, with the group that's on the floor right now, the scorers are Bacon and Gamble. That's about it.
Bellarmine goes high for the rebound. Bacon scoots through. Shot was a block. No, knocked away. Bellarmine rebound, puts it in.
Bellarmine obviously capable of scoring as well, especially if he can get on the glass that way.
He's been active within 10 feet of the basket at both ends of the court. Tied it at 15 for Bellarmine. That is his 5th point of the day. Finley hands the ball to Swalve. Swalve tries to drive. Bellarmine tries to block. Tipped away. He rejected that one enough that he couldn't score. Bacon gets it. He lofts it up. Rebounded by Ibrahim. And he puts it in 17-15. That is 6 straight now for the Spartans.
The senior with the nose for the ball right there. Go get it. Put it back.
7.5 to go. Orff drives, misses, gets his own board. Pumps. Bellarmine blocks it. Sent it into the Standard behind the basket. It's the under 8 timeout. So 7:24 to go. First half, Tampa 17, Alabama Huntsville 15.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
$7:24 left to go, first half. Tampa 17, Alabama Huntsville 15. Spartans on a 6-0 run now, after having a little scoring drought of their own.
Bellarmine's been very effective for the Spartans. 5 points, 5 boards, 2 blocked shots. He had 2 blocks yesterday as well. That's good stuff.
He's got a nose for the ball. Spartans come back out with Baker, Ibrahim, Gamble, Bellarmine.
Right now, 7.
Alabama Huntsville has made only one of its last 7 shots over the last 2 minutes, 41 seconds.
Swab will plug it into play.
Missed their last 4.
Inbounding it. Not a complete shot clock, so down to 10. Cook stroke outside the arc, drives the lane, pushes it, tipped away. Into the hands of Swab, 3 on the clock. Knocked down, turnaround jumper. Kaplan missed it right at the shot clock. Spartans rebound. Alberto Moreno on the Spartan bench now. Shoe off, ice on the ankle. Gamble to Baker. Ibrahim.
I'm sorry, Jack. I think that's a good decision right now, too, because he was still really hobbled as he tried to walk around behind the bench. So get some ice, keep the swelling down. I don't know if he comes back in the second half or not. They'll keep the ice on throughout the half. But after that, we'll see.
Ibrahim slipped on some moisture on the floor and just lofted it toward the basket in desperation. Went out of bounds. So I would believe that'll go down as a turnover, as much more so than a shot. Maybe not.
The 5 starters are on the floor right now for Alabama Huntsville.
Jumper, in and out. Bacon high to clear it.
I stand corrected. I see Dodds out there as well.
Bacon slips, hands off to Bellarmine. Inside, lays it in. And we've got a Dodd is hurt. Hurt his wrist, it looks like. I don't know where he hurt it.
Oh, I don't know. But he's in great pain.
Yeah.
Dodd already with a career high 5 points here, the freshman, in just his second game, and he is in some severe discomfort.
Don't know where it happened. There was a rebound underneath with Bellarmine.
Yeah, I think maybe, he went for the ball and Bellarmine was strong with the hoop, and there was a collision of sorts. Or you worry about a broken wrist or finger or something there.
So they quickly replace him, getting Barkley back into the lineup.
He is in real pain over there, being treated to by...
It's his right hand. I'm pretty sure he's a righter. They almost look like they're trying to pop something.
It could be dislocated finger. I was just going to say, it looks like they're trying to get that finger located. So that would be good news, actually, because if you get that pop back in, then it's not as bad as a break, obviously.
Yeah. Boy, Cook stroke just backing down Bacon and puts it in. 19-17 stops an 8-0 Spartan run. Baker, top of the key. Bacon, 10 on the shot clock. Looks to drive, loses the ball. It's going out of bounds. That'll be a turnover.
It's funny. I played with a guy in college that had a propensity to get his finger dislocated. Had a little finger on his right hand that kept popping out over and over. He was one of those guys, pesky point guard types, always in the mix. And he would just pop it himself back into place and keep playing. I said, doesn't that hurt? He goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, that hurts a lot. That's why I try to pop it back in as soon as possible.
Clock did not start on the inbound, so they ran a couple seconds off, and we're underway again. 5:15 to go, first half. Spartans by 2. Bounce pass inside to Cook-Strope. He has no trouble posting up Pat Bacon. Missed a little bunny, got the rebound. Bellarmine rejects and takes the ball away.
Third block for Bellarmine.
This time he corralled it and kept it. Pass into Bellarmine. Trying to back down Kaplan. Off the glass too hard. Fights to get his own rebound and commits a foul. A little too much aggression there after the miss.
Yeah, he was a bull in a china shop getting his shot away, but then with the miss, he went to get the ball and was a little too aggressive.
Now that's 2 fouls.
Basketball.
And
4:45.
he's coming off the floor. No, not sure what they're doing here. I think, the foul will be bonus.
Alabama Huntsville with only 5 team fouls here in the half. How about the line for Bellarmine? 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 10 minutes. Those are Duke Shelton type numbers.
He just went out. Now, standing with Coach Schmidt and one of the referees, and they're pointing at like maybe Bellarmine got scratched or something, and they're trying to say, how could that not be a foul? Look at the scratch. That's basketball. I think there may be some blood that they're going to clean up.
Orff is finally on the scoreboard with a free throw after missing his first 5 field goals.
Hits both of those, ties the game at 19.
Well, he was 9 of 11 yesterday, you pointed out, Jack, and so for him to start 0 for 5 today is kind of a surprise.
Averaged 7 a game last year, so he was not a big scorer last year. They had a couple players who graduated. Duncan rattles it home.
Nice spin move inside by Duncan.
Orff drives off the glass. No good. Duncan boards. Ibrahim, front court to Bacon. Pull-up jumper inside the arc. Rolls around. Tipped by Duncan into the hands of Ibrahim. 4 minutes to go, first half.
For halftime.
Who thought we'd have Duncan and Baker on the floor at the same time for extended minutes?
Yep. Right now, there's a travel, a little running start for Gamble.
The zone seems to have bothered Tampa a little bit. They have managed to penetrate and get shots inside, but they have not hit enough from the outside to really chase them out of that zone. In fact, they've missed all 5 of their 3-point tries, and even the mid-range jumpers haven't gone for the most part.
So it's 21-19, Tampa on top. And I noticed that Devon Colley, even though he's not playing, just about every time there's a stoppage of play is out, like coaching one of the players, telling him something. So it's a good sign.
That's the point guard mentality you want.
Yep. Right now, Spartans just 9 of 27. That's 33%. 6 of 22 at the other end. So Alabama Huntsville, a 50% shooting team yesterday.
Yeah, we
more in-your-face defense today.
And again, your point's exactly correct. They were 11 of 23 from beyond the arc in yesterday's win over St. Leo. They're only 2 of 4, I think. 2 of 4 in this game. And that, for one thing, you're saying, well, yeah, they're still at 50%, but they've only had 4 open threes, or threes that they got. And even those might have been defended, but only 4 attempts from beyond the arc. So
Spartans have certainly limited the opportunities.
They have indeed.
Spartans will be will not be home for a while. Next home game for the Tampa men will be Barry on December 1st. They are on the road for a couple of these crossover classics. This is a crossover classic here. They go to St. Leo next weekend for a crossover classic. And then we'll go to Eckerd for a Thanksgiving, post-Thanksgiving crossover classic. So they're very popular.
Well, it's great because it's regional games, too. They count in your record and come NCAA tournament time when they're talking about trying to get picked. It's nice to have wins over.
Big play by Barkley. Boy, he parted the seas there and just went right down the middle.
Wow.
Tied at 21. I should take it back. The Eckerd one is not a crossover. It's just a 4-team tournament. Minnesota State Mankato, a often power in NCAA Division II, and Virginia Union will be coming in. Gamble off the glass and it rolls home.
A couple of nice offensive moves at both ends of the floor there.
Travel, running start.
Barkley had visions of another hammer throw. He's getting ready to throw it down.
Yeah, I remember parting the lanes, seeing that dunk right in front of me and realizing that I couldn't jump that high.
There'd be no way in the world that could happen.
Realizing that I might hit the net. And then miss the layup.
Stuff happens. How about Tyler Wilson, huh? He's in the game now.
His first playing time of the year. Into Duncan, off the glass, no good. Rebound the other way. That's Barkley. Hands off to Suave, back in the lineup. Couple giant steps and a foul called. Schulman will go to the line, 1-1. Tyler Wilson, as you mentioned, into the lineup for Tampa. He is a sophomore from Raleigh, North Carolina, went to Wakefield High School. His first playing time this season.
Played in 8 games last year, had a total of 9 rebounds and 8 points total. So not a lot of playing time. He's thrilled to get off the bench here in the first half against Alabama Huntsville.
Couple free throws, ties the game. Back into the lineup as Lane for Alabama Huntsville, replacing Barkley. Take that back, he's replacing Schulman.
Very even game, 4 ties, 4 lead changes so far.
Biggest lead of the game, 4 points. Both teams have had that. Matter of fact, they came on 15-11 lead for Alabama Huntsville and then a 19-15 lead for Tampa. Bacon, pivot. Couldn't hit it though. Barkley with the board. Suave into the front court. Under 2 minutes to go, first half.
Bacon, the leading scorer for the Spartans, just 1 of 7 in this game.
Suave looked for the shot, couldn't get it, tries to drive on Wilson, nowhere to go, under 10 on the shot clock. It's down to 5, bouncing at the stroke, pivots, knocks down Ibrahim, and they call the charge.
Lenny Acuff doesn't believe it. He throws out both hands and smiles at the official, says you bought into the flop. Freddie Ibrahim, though, nice job defensively.
6-14 foul now for UAA.
Well, he did do a spin move, but didn't spin around him. He spun into him, so Ibrahim just accentuated the opportunity.
Sure. It's kind of like a catcher framing a pitch.
Yes.
It's like, yes, it's already on the corner. It's a strike, but I'm going to bring it right over here into the middle of the plate.
You understand. 23 all. Ibrahim deep 3 off the rim, no good. Nice little pass and blocked by Gamble. Wow, did he reject Kaplan on that, or not Kaplan, but Lane on that one. Wilson missing though. We come the other way.
Well, you really want to answer with a basket in that case.
Yeah.
After the great defensive play.
Quick stroke. Goes back up on top to Lane. Gamble all over Lane as we've ticked under a minute. Stroke, quick stroke in the lane, back out to the corner. 3 on the way by Barkley, no good. Rebound Ibrahim. 40 seconds to go, first half.
Tampa's been scoreless over 2 minutes now, missed its last 4 shots. Been almost 3 minutes since the Spartans made a basket.
Timeout called.
Timeout is called by Tampa.
Richard Schmidt looking for anything to discuss here. He asked for a timeout, didn't get it, and finally Pat Bacon got it, and he's kind of like, why aren't you listening to me, ref? I called a timeout about an hour ago. Oh, well.
Richard's continuing to bark a little bit, so the official says, enough now. Come on, it's just a timeout.
27 seconds to go.
Amazing new iPhone 8 is at AT&T, and we know you'll love it.
Because we know you want more.
More great camera features and more power.
And more than just unlimited data, we give you unlimited plans with HBO included for life.
Because you deserve more entertainment.
And more spokespeople. Talking like this, saying the word more.
AT&T.
It's time for more. Am I too close? I feel like I'm too close.
All right, we'll see what the Spartans set up with 27 seconds to go. There's 15 on the shot clock.
By Max Schultz.
Little discussion before we inbound.
On the shot.
Richard Schmidt, Tampa coach in his 36th season, closing in on 700 career wins.
Ibrahim to inbound to Bacon. They immediately double team him. He tries to split the gap, and that is not what Lenny Acuff wanted. Foul was called when Bacon slipped through. See who they give the foul to. They give it to Suave.
17th foul, so a 1-and-1 for Bacon.
Bacon to the line. As you mentioned, he's not shooting well today. 1 for 7, 2 for 2. Misses the first free throw. And it was the 1-on-1, went out of bounds, so Alabama Huntsville will have a chance for the last shot with 24 seconds to go. Inbound to Suave. Trots it across the timeline. 15 now. 10. Backing Bacon down, takes a pick. Wilson on the switch. 3 on the shot on the clock, and airballed it, and it goes out of bounds, and that's the way the half will end.
Defense rules the day here in the first half. The Spartans shooting just 31%, and Alabama Huntsville just 28%. So again, defense has been pretty good for both teams. The offense, not so much.
So we will have a second half to decide the outcome of this game. 23-23 at halftime. Jack Ike, Scott Lynn will take a quick break. We'll be back just before the start of the second half in a tied-up game here in the Tampa Spartans Crossover Classic. We'll be back.
to come back early? We can talk about the injuries or whatever.
Okay.
Or with final minute or something.
I'll go. How about a minute 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
And welcome back to the University of Tampa men's basketball game as the Spartans and Alabama Huntsville Chargers are all tied 23 all at halftime. Be back in about a minute and a half for the start of the second half. Jack Ike, Scott Lynn in a game that neither team shooting all that well, indicative by the score. Though yesterday it seemed like the statistics were showing exactly what the game score should show, and that it was a very even game. I think we're seeing the same today.
Yeah.
It's just some bad shooting at this point.
Yeah, 28% from the field for Alabama Huntsville, making just 2 of 5 from deep after they made 11 in their win yesterday over St. Leo. But Tampa shooting 31% from the floor overall, but 0 of 7 from deep. Now, we do have a couple of injuries, Jack, we'll update you on, and that is that Alberto Moreno has not come out of the locker room, or I have not seen him yet, and I suspect that he is not going to play as they continue to ice that ankle that was injured in the first half when he landed awkwardly. And then also from Alabama Huntsville, Dalton Dodd, the freshman who played 7 minutes and scored 5 quick points, he dislocated his thumb on his right hand, on his shooting hand, and they say that he will not come back and play in the second half.
Well, I tell you, both players look to be in immediate pain.
Yeah, you could tell it was a lot of discomfort. Obviously, being helped off the floor was a pretty good sign that Moreno was not going to be back. Well, let's hope that for Dalton Dodd's sake that it is just a dislocation, that they maybe got popped back into place, and that with some treatment, he won't miss a whole lot of playing time. If it was a broken thumb, then things change.
56 on the clock right now.
Coming out onto the court for Alabama Huntsville,
Here inside the
look to be the original starters, and that will be Swalve, Orff, Finley. Who else do we have here? Cook-Strope and J.J. Kaplan. Spartans will have Pat Bacon, Cedric Bellarmine, Freddie Ibrahim, Vincent Biffle, and Anthony Gamble. So Ibrahim will be in the lineup instead of Alberto Moreno to start the second half, as Moreno staying in the locker room after looking like a bad twist of the ankle. Underway, second half. Swalve with the ball, first possession of a tie game. You know, I tell you, all 4 games in this crossover have been very competitive games.
4 evenly matched teams, none of which are expected to contend for their conference championship.
And there's Orff hitting the 3. 26-23.
Gives us a 3-point lead.
That's his first 3-point try of the day, and he knocked it down. He's the guy that made 4 out of 5 in the win over St. Leo yesterday.
Bellarmine missing, fighting for it, but taken away by Kaplan. Quickly up court to Finley, knocked out of bounds, and it'll stay Charger basketball.
Nice job by Biffle getting back.
Inside, Kaplan turns around and he just kind of, I don't know if he elbowed Gamble in the gut.
There was definitely contact.
And they did call the foul. Anthony's going to collect his thoughts.
Couldn't tell if they got him in the breadbasket or a little bit lower.
He grabbed his stomach after he got hit.
He was going to be able to walk it off, it appears.
That will be the second foul on Swalve. No, I take that back. They're calling it on Kaplan inside. So here come the Spartans, down 3.
On this very floor.
Spartans working the perimeter. Biffle outside. Now to Gamble. 10 on the shot clock now. Biffle. Fake. Pops inside the arc. Rolls around. No good. Finley with the board. Orth with the board, I should say. Back outside, long jumper, off the rim, no good. Tipped up by a couple players and taken down by Biffle. He's going to try to go all the way and fouled as he got near the rim.
That will be the second foul.
You know, Biffle coming up the floor in a hurry there, went behind his back with the dribble. There was a player from Alabama Huntsville right there who didn't expect that behind the back move at mid-quarter. He could have just reached out and grabbed it. He was just running alongside Vincent.
Oh, I could tell that one was a bad release. It just went up too high.
Biffle just a 62% career free throw shooter, and he was 6 of 10 yesterday.
102 to 96.
Nothing but net on that one. 26-24. Spartans' first points of the second half. Suave, the point guard, gets it to Cook Strope. Other side to Kaplan. Inside to Finley. Trying to post up Gamble. Gamble, nice job being a pest. 10 on the shot clock. Suave, 3 on the shot clock. Gets the lane, kicks it out. Jumper, in and out. Kaplan at the shot clock. Couldn't get it to go down. Bacon. Abraham calling the play.
Spartans haven't had a basket since the 3:04 mark of the first half. Ooh, ow.
Boy, Gamble on the ground, and everybody was jumping, and it was like, get out of the way. Don't come down on me.
Somebody landed on his stomach right after where he got hit last time, at the other end of the floor. But again, no field goals made since the 3:04 mark. 3:04 left in the first half.
So 5+ minutes.
Yeah. The Spartans have got to find a way to score.
Gamble has 4.
Hits that one.
Barkley is in. 8-foot is out.
26-25 as he hits that one.
This would
For
tie.
Anthony, his 5th point of the night.
If Gamble were to hit it, it would tie it.
And we're tied, 26.
We're tied at 26.
And Suave into the front court.
Last field goal, 3:04 on the first half.
Kaplan, Suave. Both teams very good at switching. They're not having anybody fight through picks. They're switching. 5 on the shot clock. Suave kicks it out. 2 on the shot clock. Finley has to shoot. Front of the rim, bounces. Hit the rim, hit the glass, went home.
Shooter's touch, got the shooter's bounce.
29-26. And for Finley, his first bucket of the game.
He made 3 out of 5 from downtown yesterday against St. Leo. That's his first make of this one.
They're still shooting a very good percentage of threes, just not the quantity from yesterday. Bacon to the rim, up and in and fouled. He got the bucket, has a chance to tie it.
There you go, that's the first make.
For Pat Bacon, he's now just 2 of 8 from the floor, but has 6 points.
It was exactly 6.5 minutes ago that the Spartans had their previous last field goal make.
Of scoreless basketball.
And it rattles it home to tie it at 29. The good thing for the Spartans is they went that duration, but didn't fall too far behind at all. 3 and battled back.
Yeah, find themselves tied here with a long way to go.
Bounce pass. Good to Kaplan. Trying to post up Gamble. And he traveled in the lane. Anthony just was not going to give any.
Spartans have not made a 3 yet in this game. They're 0 for 7. And against a pretty good Alabama Huntsville defense.
Bacon fouled on his drive.
15 foul in less than 4 minutes of the second half, so it won't be long before the Spartans are shooting.
15 fouls now for UAH, 0 for Tampa here in the second half. Off the wing back.
And if you notice, Jack, the Spartans have not been whistled for a foul, so they'll be shooting free throws long before Alabama-Huntsville.
Ball tipped out of bounds. And since we're under 16 minutes, we will take the under 16 timeout. 15:53 to go. Second half, 29-29. Each team with 6 points this half. And we'll step out for a quick second. Nine 29. We've decided nothing so far after the first 4 minutes of the half. Each team with 6 points.
Well, you talked about this earlier, and it's still the case. Neither team has led by more than 4 points in this game. That's how close it's been all game long. Two very evenly matched teams that are predicted by the conference coaches to finish down in the conference standings. We talked about it yesterday. The Spartans believe that they are going to be better than the 10th out of 11 Sunshine State Conference teams. But people looked at what did you lose? Marcel Robinson, all-conference player. Duke Shelton, the defensive player of the year in the SSC. Obviously, coaches look at that and go, "Well, they have coming back as far as experience." Well, Pat Bacon, yeah, they got some guys, but you lost two pretty big guns in those two.
Coming out of the timeout is a zone defense. And Gamble tries to drive, nowhere to go. Loses the ball. Taken away by Swallow. That was turnover number 6. Not many turnovers by the Spartans. Another interesting stat at this point. Points in the paint. Spartans with 18, so 2/3 of their points in the paint, but only 9. Whereas at 8 for Alabama-Huntsville, so a quarter of their points in the paint. Ibrahim up court for Tampa.
Bellamy now with 7 points and 7 rebounds. He's headed for a possible double-double.
Bellamy has to go up and get it. Finds Ibrahim off the quick pass, and it goes out of bounds.
Richard Schmidt very unhappy with that.
Probably would have been better to just keep it and put it up, but Ibrahim was open, but not really in a position to catch.
Right, and he was cutting through to go out to the corner, which is where he was headed in the offense, and the pass was behind him.
So we're still tied.
Bellamy trying to make up for the mistake with a defensive play at this end. Here we are, over 5 minutes into the second half, and nobody has scored in double figures in this game.
Well, there haven't been a lot of points to distribute.
No, exactly right.
And if you've got 6 or more, you've got a chunk of your team's points. On the drive is Lane. He misses. Diffel with the rebound. Top of the key out to Gamble. Diffel going to go in, floats, bounces in.
Boy, it's a tough shot right there by Diffel, but he finished beautifully. His first field goal of the game.
Bellarmine with another rebound. We come back the other way. Bacon charging into a player, and that's exactly what they call. Needed to stop and pop or stop and dish.
Charge that time by Pat Bacon. Turns the basketball back over to UAA. 7 turnovers in the game for Tampa. UAA 8.
Foul on Bacon was his second. And it stays a 2-point Spartan lead. Pass inside to Orff. Tries to fake. I think he traveled. Yeah, he did. Faked. But was moving not all the time.
The bucket. It's 31-29. to play here in Tampa.
So here come the Spartans. And
shot clock did not start.
Clocks were moving. I'm not sure what the stop is, but he wants 13:54 and 28 seconds on their shot clock.
8 on the shot clock. And they have to reset the.
So he didn't like 1 second of time there.
And we're ready. It's a 2-point Tampa lead with possession.
All right, everything's corrected. We're underway again.
Bacon.
Bellarmine drives back out to Biffle. Spartans reverse it. 10 on the shot clock. Biffle tries to drive the lane, does, just loft it over the rim and knock it home, and believe it or not, this is the biggest lead of the game.
Yeah, it equals that, and again, a great offensive move and finish by Biffle.
Orff drives, Bellarmine tries to block it, Orff gets it off the glass first and gets it home. 33-31, a 2-point lead for Tampa.
3 out of their last 3 field goals, 2 of them by Biffle. Biffle drives it.
Biffle off the glass again and in. And Vincent Biffle taking over a little bit here.
That's 4 consecutive made field goals for the Spartans. Biffle has 3 of them.
He's hunting for some layups. Biffle with a steal. Going to try to take it all the way down, gets his steps, lays it up and in, and a 6-point lead. It's not insurmountable, but it's the biggest one we've had.
It is. It feels like a big one now, doesn't it? Biffle with 9 points, top scorer in the game.
Long jumper, no good by Finley. Rebounded and put in by Barkley. Back to forward.
The field goal shooting percentage is getting better now as the shots are starting to go a little bit. Spartans are 5 of 7 in this half. That's 71%.
It was 23 all at half. Biffle feeling it. Still does. I think that's only a 2. Yeah. But Biffle climbs into double digits. There you've got your first double-digit scorer of the day. Orff outside the arc, Biffle on him. Tries to drive in the lane, back out, Swallow, 3 on the way, off the rim, tipped up, Bellarmine with the rebound. I think that's his 9th. Spartans by 6, under 12 minutes to go. Next timeout will stop play. Biffle missing that one. He was feeling it again.
A couple players on the Tampa bench were standing up, getting ready to leap in celebration.
That was a good look, just didn't fall.
But you're right, Biffle is feeling it.
Oh, nice give and go to Swallow, and he puts it in, and not sure if there's a foul or timeout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lenny Acuff called a quick timeout. They want to set the defense and maybe even pick up full court. We'll see.
So with 11:03 to go, this is a team timeout. 39-35, Spartans on top. So we will still have the under 12 timeout when it comes up. But the Spartans holding on to the 4-point lead.
If you joined us late, Alabama Huntsville beat St. Leo in its season opener yesterday, 69-57, shooting 53% from the floor and making 11 of 23 from downtown. Tonight, it was a 4 of 11 perimeter shooting first half for the Chargers of Alabama Huntsville, but they're just 2 of 6 here in the second half from deep. So for the game, it's 4 of 11 total, I should say. They were 2 of 5 in the first half, so they're 4 of 11 now. Tampa, meantime, still hasn't made a 3. Didn't even try to make a 3 yet in this half. They're 0 for 7 from the game, but again, they've been very efficient in the second half, getting the basket. Biffle in particular, they're 6 of 9 in the half, 67%, and now for the game, they've got their shooting up to 39%. It was much worse than that at the beginning of this second half.
Well, the Spartans, again, I mentioned it earlier, now at 24 points in the paint, so more than half their points coming inside.
Early here in the second half.
Teams coming back out onto the court.
3 points.
Brendan Baker's coming back in for Tampa at this point. Also, Tyler Wilson, I see, is checked in. Biffle's going to get a breather. Well-deserved.
Well, these are good minutes at this time of the year for somebody like Tyler Wilson or Brendan Baker.
Yeah,
see what kind of roles they may play as the season goes on.
Game's on the line. You know, you're playing quality minutes right here.
Gamble with the ball over to Bacon. Jump shot inside the arc, rolls around, tipped by Bellamine in! He went high for that one. Tipped it in. He has 9 and 10 now. 9 points, 10 rebounds. Spartan lead is 6. Orth nowhere to go. Looking. He's been in the lane a while, and they call 3.
I was going to say, he's got to pass the ball and get out of there because he's been in the lane for a while.
He's going to have to pay property taxes if he stayed there too much longer. 6-point lead. Spartans with a chance to make it even bigger.
5 turnovers.
Back to a zone. Gamble drives the lane, couldn't finish. Slow to get up, but he gets up. We go back to the other end. Top of the key, it's Orff. Launches, hits.
Well, we saw him get real hot yesterday against St. Leo, and he's starting to warm up here in the second half. Cut that 6-point deficit in half with that stroke.
Bacon drive and a push. That's got to be a charge because he stuck the arm out. He can argue all he wants, but he did.
Yeah, Richard Schmidt throws his hand out at the official, waves at it like, oh, that was not a good call, but
it was.
Appeared so from our vantage point. Yeah, it happened right in front of Coach Schmidt.
Now they have tinted goggles.
It's just as partisan as our country is in the electorate these days.
And this is the under 12 timeout. 9:34 to go, 41-38. Tampa on top by 3.
No. Empanada. It's Mr. Empanada to you.
Now serving up scrumptious empanadas in convenient Tampa Bay locations. Mr. Empanada.
So it's been hard for anybody to get any distance. Separation, 6 is the biggest. It's back to 3.
But again, you look, both teams have lost a player in this game due to injury. The freshman Dalton Dodd out of the game for Alabama Huntsville after he injured his thumb. We're told he dislocated it and will not play in the second half. But for Tampa, the loss much greater. Their 2-year letter winner and starting point guard, the guy who's been the best player for them since the preseason started, Alberto Moreno, out with that sprained ankle, had ice on it immediately thereafter, tried to walk it off, tried to stay available, but there's just no way. You could tell as he walked off, it was very unlikely that he would come back. And he's not even on the bench. He's probably receiving treatment or continuing to ice it at the very least.
Chargers cross the timeline. Chance to tie the game again. Quick stroke in the lane, double team. Nice little pass and slips it around to Kaplan, who put some English on it, knocked it home and got fouled. And he will have a chance to tie. See who this foul is on. It was underneath. Not sure. It might be on Bacon, and if so, that's foul 3. Nope. Charge to Bellamine.
And that's his third. So Yep, maybe even worse.
Oh, there's just a misguided pass or somebody not looking.
Richard Schmidt can't believe it.
It was off a missed free throw. Kaplan then got the ball, had a running start. That's what you call an unforced error because nobody was within 10 feet of him. And he just took about 3 steps to get going. So Spartans are bailed out. There's Alberto Moreno coming to the bench now in a hoodie. The lead is 1 now, 41-40 with 9 minutes to go in regulation. Brent Duncan in a steal. Back to Orff. He's going to put the Chargers in the lead. So turnover by the Spartans, then they return the favor, and then the Spartans turn it over again. And UAH has taken a 6-point deficit and turned it into a 1-point lead. They have a partisan crowd here.
Yeah, they brought a lot of people with them for this little two-game stint in Tampa, and they're a little noisy right now.
Bacon missing, rebound Kaplan, tied up. He throws an elbow at Wilson.
Well, that's just a bad foul by Wilson.
Yeah,
he's reaching over the top of him, and he's just trying to clear some space.
Yeah, Kaplan did not mean to throw the elbow. Wilson reached around him, and he was just, like you said, trying to make some space, get some living space.
Yeah.
And it
breathing space.
It looked awkward.
Yeah.
But there was no doubt it was on Wilson.
That's some of the inexperience for Tyler Wilson there. Didn't have position, tried to go get the ball over the top of the player, so just not a good foul in that situation. And we mentioned earlier that very early on in the second half, Alabama Huntsville had 5 team fouls. They have not had a team foul since, and Tampa, which had 0 at that time, now has 4. So it's all evened out. Momentum clearly on the side of Alabama Huntsville right now. And a timeout on the floor. And this is a chance for Richard Schmidt to try to get his players to stem the tide.
You know, I was going to say it at the time. You'll have to believe me on this. When you said it was 5 fouls to none, I said it'll even out before it's over.
Well, you were right in your mind.
It always does.
Yeah, it does.
I should say it almost always does.
Well, a lot of times, if the coach from the team that had 0 fouls against him, he might mention that. He might mention it to one of the guys in the striped shirts.
Yeah, and it seems to
somehow it always tends to even out. Yep.
And the other thing you can't assume is that the game will just continue at the flow that it was going to that point.
Now the officials are going to call both head coaches in, and I'm not sure if they're going to talk about like a thrown elbow. Was that are they going to talk about, was it above the head, all that kind of stuff? I mean, I'm not sure what they are discussing right now.
See, I didn't see anyone call a timeout, so I'm not sure why a timeout was called.
I think the officials
did it and said, let's
they're going to
talk this over, police it a little bit.
And you'll wonder if there's been a technical assessed, or if they're just saying, hey, calm your guys down a little bit, or whatever. It's obviously been a hotly contested game. Despite the lack of offense, it's been heated.
Give the officials credit if they're trying to stop a little interaction from getting overheated. Well, it appears to be a technical, and maybe either way.
I'm thinking it was the thrown elbow that they called the technical, and we'll see if they give him a technical official. Yeah, a technical foul's been called on. Well, they're saying T on Wilson.
Maybe one for each end.
But it might be at both ends, but I don't think so based on the reaction I saw from the head coach of Alabama Huntsville. He walked away a little dejected after the officials talked to him. So it says a T. The T, well, they did change it. The T is on Kaplan. All right. There's the foul call on Wilson and a technical foul for the thrown elbow on Kaplan. That's why the 2 free throws were attempted.
Okay. So the officials did think the elbow was a little too flagrant. Biffle, jumper, no good. Rebound Kaplan. 43-42 as Bacon knocked both free throws down. Kaplan had his way with Bacon there. That was a mismatch.
Well, and you go back to last play, Jack. It actually worked out pretty well for Tampa in that regard. It was a bad foul, not an unfortunate foul. Wilson going over the top. It wasn't a smart foul, if you will. But because the player reacted with a thrown elbow, it worked out okay for Tampa.
When Duncan throws one in, you don't get style points, you just get points.
And you'll take them every time.
He cruised through the lane. I think he lost his steps for a second, but still banked it home. Jump shot, off the rim, no good. But Biffle, careful.
Well, he chased it down. He could have let it go out of bounds. It would have been Tampa ball, no question. But you know what? He's thinking, I can get a rebound here. And he's only one rebound away from a double-double. So, hey, you get him whenever you can. He was about a quarter of an inch from the line, though.
Bacon, short, way short.
0 for 8 from deep are the Spartans.
Wow. But the good thing is they haven't forced it. They're not 0 for 19 or something like that. They haven't tried to belabor the point. But Duncan gets hit by Kaplan. He's scratching his jaw. And a takeaway by Bacon and a reach from behind by Swalve. And Lenny Acuff not objecting to the call. He's just saying we really shouldn't be fouling that far away on trying to reach after a player. It will be 1-1 for Pat Bacon, who has climbed his way up to 9 points on mostly 5 of 6 from the line.
Yeah, just 2 of 11 from the floor. Again, Pat's shooting woes continue in this game, but thankfully he's been consistently good from the charity stripe, as he has been throughout his career. Last year shot 83%, shot 78% his freshman year. He's been, again, about an 80% shooter. That's pretty good.
So it's 45-44 with 6:44 to go in regulation play. This has been a highly contested game.
By the way, one of the notes I saw about one of the Alabama Huntsville players, Swalve, who, one of their starters, when he was a freshman, he's just a redshirt sophomore. Last year, he had a double-double and so forth. He's a nice, solid player, as we've seen. His freshman year, though, in high school, he set the Alabama state record for free throw percentage at 95.1%.
Wow, as a freshman.
As a freshman. That's amazing, and it's the state record.
Wow.
I don't know if it's all classifications, but that's no matter where you are, that's still 15 feet from the basket, and he made 95%.
So that, even if you took 100 free throws, that's 47 and a half that you made out of 47 and a half out of 50.
Right. Yeah.
95 out of 100, so somewhere in that range.
Our high school basketball coach in Illinois, when I was growing up, I was on the varsity. We had to shoot at the end of practice when your legs are gone.
Yep, that's when
we had to shoot 50 every day, and we had to make at least 40 of the 50 before we could go in. Some players never got to go in. They finally
They're still there 40 years later.
They're still there shooting those free throws. But that's again, you're talking about 40 out of 50. That's 80%.
Yeah.
He just felt like with no pressure of the game, you should be able to make 4 out of 5.
Yep. Bacon knocks down the throw, and it's 47-44. Spartans back to a 3-point lead. A little backcourt pressure, but they call it off.
Yeah, Bacon was 7 out of 8 now after making both. So that's hey, you'll take the points any way you get them now.
Bounce pass inside to Kaplan. He swings it out, though, to Finley, and he rolls in a 3 to tie this game at 47. You get some distance, the other team takes it right away. Spartans in back-to-back close games to start the season. Biffle quickly unloads the 3 and knocks it down.
That's the first one of the game. Spartans had missed their first 8.
Biffle with 14 now, 50% shooting today, 6 of 12. Back outside, Barkley looks for a 3, goes away from it. Hook stroke, gets some room, goes in, foul before it happened.
6th team foul for Tampa, so it will be an inbound situation, not free throws. Both teams are now in the bonus. Huntsville with 6 fouls, 7 fouls, and Tampa with 6.
So Vincent Biffle had no points at halftime. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Now has 14.
Yeah, I guess he decided to play. Again, at halftime, you realize Moreno's not coming back. So you're sitting there, and I'm sure Richard Schmidt says, who's going to step up for me? Well, Vincent Biffle's a good candidate, and with 0 in the first half, he's thinking, I could do better.
He had 0 points, 0 for 3, so he's 6 for 9 this half for his 14 points. Shot was missed by Orff, rebounded by Bellarmine. Rebound number 12. Looking for one more point for the double-double. Foul called underneath, and we're going the other way. Maybe Anthony Gamble with the foul, away from the ball. Just the first.
By the way, Biffle is not in right now because of 4 fouls. Yeah, that's he's on the bench. Both Bellarmine and Bacon have 3 fouls for Tampa.
We're under 5 minutes to go. Cook stroke, tries to back down. Wilson does. Charge called. Good job by Wilson.
Lenny Akoff again is pleading a flop situation.
I'd have to go with Wilson on that one. I mean, really, Cook stroke just backs, pushes, and pushes. And eventually, you can try and stand there as much as you want, but...
Yeah, he definitely bumped into him.
Yeah.
He may have exaggerated it a little bit. But it looked like the correct call to me.
It was.
I knew you wouldn't disagree.
Well, I mean, we try to be fair. We've said it both ways. Bacon rolls it in. Gravity knocks it down. 52-47. Swallow trying to drive. Gets past Bellarmine. Rolls it around. No good. Wilson boards. Bacon quickly to the other end.
Tyler Wilson doing a job.
Ibrahim looked for the shot. Came back out.
Fans right here thought there was a travel by Ibrahim, and I think they were correct.
They may not be wrong.
They might not be wrong.
See, we call them correctly, or we call them as we see them. We don't have rose-colored glasses. Into Bellarmine. Trying to back down. Finley rolls it around. Oh, goes in and out. But there's going to be a foul on Finley.
Talk a little more about Tyler Wilson. You talked earlier when he came off the bench. Some guys are going to get a chance to show what they can do, maybe what kind of roles they're going to have. Tyler Wilson has helped himself in this game.
Yes, he has. Hasn't scored, but has done other things. 52-47, 3:49 to go in the game. We'll take a quick break. No, we won't. We'll stay here.
Okay. I wasn't going anywhere.
All right. As long as we're both here, what the heck?
Yep.
52-47. Spartans are 10 of 18 this half, which gets them up to 40% for the game. Huntsville is 10 of 22 for the half. They're still below 40% for the game.
Yeah, 36%, 17 of 47 overall. Now, again, they have 5 more made three-pointers. That's 15 points difference on the scoreboard.
Yes.
So Tampa's overcome that by being very aggressive and good at getting to the hoop.
Again, points in the paint, 30 for Tampa, 20 for Huntsville, so more than 60% of the Spartans' points inside.
We are on a 0 points in the last 2 minutes.
Huntsville hasn't scored for almost 3 minutes as the Spartans try to pull away here in the final. Very similar to yesterday's game, where it was close, tight, almost all the way, and right at the end, the Spartans pulled away, just got a little bit of an edge. Had a 5-point lead as the clock ticked down to 0. They hit a 3 at the buzzer, did Montebello. So that made it a 2-point win, 63-61 for Tampa. I'll tell you what, Richard Schmidt would take a 2-point win today as well.
Cedric Bellarmine to the free throw line.
So
chance to add to the lead.
Line, where Tampa has been living at the line here in the second half.
Doesn't knock it down though. A little strong. Stays at 9 points.
They are
If you look at the minutes played, Anthony Gamble with 35, or 35, I should say, today. So he has played all but like 1 minute. Bellarmine knocks it down, double-double with 10 and 12. Spartans picking up full court. No, just pestered to pass. Gamble's going to get a foul here because he ran into Finley and then ran into Finley again, and it was like you had an opportunity. The first one was a mistake. You didn't see him. Second one you just did.
And this is only the second and potentially third free throw attempts for Alabama Huntsville in the second half. The Spartans are 9 of 11 from the line in the second half. So, again, we talked about the difference in the three-point line. The difference for Tampa and being ahead is that they have had more free throws and made more free throws.
It's not a huge disparity. 11 free throws for Alabama Huntsville, 16 for Tampa.
But in the half, it was a little bit different.
Yes.
11-3 overall in opportunities after this next free throw attempt.
Finley hit the first. He now has 7 points. Misses the second, and Gamble rebounds. Lead is 5. 3:35 to go in the game. Pops inside the arc. It's going to be short. Bounces into the hands of Orff.
And Richard Schmidt says, why? Why so fast?
Yeah, that was not the shot at that time.
Early in the shot clock, 5-point lead.
Not only that, but it wasn't a great shot.
You're going to get that 18, 19-footer anytime you want.
No, I mean, Gamble, I should say, reject.
No, Bellarmine. It was Bellarmine. Okay. Yes, it was.
Orff tried the lane, had his man beat, but Bellarmine came from the other side. Pass inside the Bacon, stolen.
5 block shots for Bellarmine tonight.
Quick stroke. This time tries to go past. Gets past Biffle and lays it in. For quick stroke, point number 6. And the lead is 3, 53-50, 2:35 to go in the game.
Tampa's let some opportunities go back to the wayside here at the offensive end. They had a 5-point lead in the ball, and now it's a 1-possession game.
Bacon looked, came back out, finds Ibrahim. He's going to fire from 3 and hits.
Freddie actually called for that. He's not known as a 3-point shooter, but he said, I've got the open shot. Bring it out here.
That's point number 5 for the day for Freddie. Just the second 3-pointer made by Tampa today. Swallow back out. Barkley takes it back out as well. Barkley tries to drive, loses the ball. He bounced it off Gamble's foot, and then they called the foul on Gamble. Don't know if that was the right call because he dribbled off of Gamble's foot and it bounced awkwardly to him, making him kind of lose his balance. So they called a foul.
By the way, Cook Strope's playing with 4 fouls right now. Svalb has 3 for Alabama Huntsville. Tampa, meantime, Biffle with 4. Gamble, Bellarmine, and Bacon all with 3. Only a minute 51 left, so that might not be an issue. But if we go overtime, you start to think, well, fouls could be a problem.
Yes. Both a foul for each team, or the next foul for each team will be double bonus.
The scoreboard is incorrect. They put the point on Tampa's side, not Alabama Huntsville.
Misses the second, 56-51. The lead is 5.
Scoreboard's wrong. Scoreboard's wrong. Hey, the point went to the wrong team. There we go. Fixing it.
They got it.
All right. Wanted to make sure the official knew, because, again,
that can mislead players.
Well, yeah, because they're the ones, they're looking up at the scoreboard. They don't know that the point went to the wrong team. And so it had to be corrected here during that stoppage of play, and it was.
We had a Wisconsin game a few years ago where they gave points to the wrong team, and when they came down court, they thought they needed a 3, launched it quickly, even though they were within a point or 2. Wow. Goodness. Orff just collides with Gamble. Gamble to the turf, to the hardwood.
So fortunate that Orff was not injured on that. He landed, I thought, on his left wrist.
2 free throws here.
Big free throws. It's a 2-possession game right now with 2 makes. You can make it a 3-possession game.
Right now it's a 5
Gamble with 6 points.
Gamble's 2 for 2.
And he hits it. He has 7. He's 3 for 3 from the line.
And he is a career 91% free throw shooter.
Here's a big.
This is the guy you want at the line right here.
Rattles that one in.
Yep, even when it looks bad, it's good.
8 for Gamble, a 7-point lead, a minute and a half to go. Top of the key is Orff. He goes out to Finley, launches a 3, hits the 3. They wanted a foul. Bellarmine came close. I think they just got the timeout. Bellarmine flew past him. A little flyby.
Yeah.
And look at that. You can see Devon Colley is saying, you need to be careful on that.
Yeah.
You could have given up 4 points.
Yeah, here you had a 3-possession game, and it could have been all of a sudden a 1-possession game just like that. Mention Anthony Gamble, guy you won at the line, 91% career free throw shooter. Last year, only missed 1 all season. Now, he only had 20 opportunities. He played
95%.
Yeah, 95% exactly. And so you're
96%.
19 out of 20. That's pretty good. The previous season, he was 11 of 13. He's only missed 3 in his Tampa career. Now, again, not a ton of shots, but if you're over 90% for your career, you're pretty good.
Yes.
So you might want Gamble to have the ball in your hands if you're thinking they're going to try to foul to get the ball back.
Did they call? No, they're coming. He looked like he was going to the free throw line.
Full court pressure.
Okay.
That's,
right.
I think, is what they were thinking.
We had a Tampa women's game a couple of years ago. Tampa led by 3 in the final seconds. You knew the other team needed a 3, and one of the women fouled the 3-point shooter who made the 3 and then hit the free throw to win.
Here comes pressure. Got to have some help in the backcourt.
Taking to Biffle.
And he traveled.
He did.
He can argue all he wants. That's just bad. He went up in the air, nowhere to throw it.
Yep.
Good defense by Alabama Huntsville.
The only redeeming point is it's still a 2-possession game.
But not much time off the clock since we said it was a 3-possession game.
Backcourt to Suave. Minute 5 left in the game.
You need to have good defense and make them run some time off the clock. Don't give them a clean look.
1 minute to go. 18 on the shot clock. Stroke guarded by Ibrahim. Back out to Barkley. Finds Orff. Unloads a 3. Missed it, and Biffle with the rebound. Clutches that ball and drops it off to Bacon.
Well, you'd think that they would want a full-court trap right here, a half-court trap at least.
Bacon dishes Bellarmine off the glass and in. Bellarmine with 12 and a quick timeout by Richard Schmidt. And I think he's saying there's no timeout. We got to inbound it first, or what?
No.
What's he calling?
I'm not sure. Well, for one thing, the score wasn't updated, so they got the score.
Maybe that's what he was pointing at the score.
He might have been pointing, saying you need to get the points up there.
Yeah.
So the timeout was called.
Okay.
34.9. They might have changed the time on that a bit too. So,
okay. But
again, it's still just a 2-possession game. And the way this team shoots, Alabama Huntsville, they're 7 of 16 from deep today. This isn't over yet.
No.
And I think that's what Richard Schmidt is going to say. We got to keep playing and denying the 3.
But they really need to be cognizant of the fact you cannot foul the 3-point shooter.
Yeah, because it's 2 free throws. Now, both teams are shooting the double bonus, so 2 free throws on every foul. How about Bellarmine tonight with his first career double-double for Tampa? 12 points, 12 boards, and 5 block shots, unless he had another one. Let me check. Nope, still at 5. 5 block shots. That's a game. That's a good game. And then, of course, you also have Biffle with a double-double, 14 points, 11 boards.
Bacon or Bellarmine? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know either. Go with Bacon. Okay.
34.9.
Well, a nice drive and dish by Pat Bacon right there. Obviously, Pat hasn't had a great shooting game. That's just his 3rd assist, but bottom line is it was a big basket for his team.
Suave knocks down Bellarmine, and he gets the layup.
And timeout called here. Bellarmine was on the court saying he was pushed down, and, the officials did not call that one. So maybe the lobbying efforts of Lenny Acuff and his political action committee.
Now, he may have been pushed down. We didn't have the angle. We've had the angle at a couple of the other ones. Couldn't tell you on that one, other than he did go to the ground.
Right. I do think that he threw out an elbow and kind of caught him. So, but that was just my look at it. I could see it also not being whistled with just 26 seconds left. You let the players decide the game in that case.
Suave with that bucket now at 9. And the lead is 4.
If that call had been made the other way, the game is almost over. I mean, as long as you take care of free throws. It's a 6-point game. You've got the ball. If you get the ball in, you're going to get fouled immediately. You make free throws, you got this game over with. But with no whistle on that, that's a big play. But again, I'm with you. I'm not saying it should have been called. But if it could have been called.
This is true. The other ones where it was called, also the players had really established position. Bellarmine was just still sliding on defense.
I agree.
And it wasn't quite as easy to call if there was one to be made. The other players were just waiting for the player to charge down the lane.
Well, the most important thing right here is get the ball in. And don't get double-teamed trapped in the backcourt.
Bounces it into Bacon. He gets around the corner. Struggles. Finds Biffle. Goes to Bellarmine. Out to Ibrahim. No sense. All right, they were smart enough to pull it back, and foul is going to be called on Finley. It will send Ibrahim to the line. You know they should be smart enough, but sometimes they get that quick one and you're like, don't go to the hoop, don't do it. They pulled it back.
Freddie, last season, 77% free throw shooter.
So it is 2 free throws.
He gets 2 with 17.9 to go.
His first attempts of the night.
Bounces away. He will get one more.
The important thing here, do not foul on a missed free throw here.
Hits that one. The lead is 5, 61-56.
Now, don't stop the clock with a foul, a silly foul.
A drive and a steal by Bacon. Nothing called, and Bacon is fouled in the backcourt. Looked pretty clean. Pat Bacon, nice job with the block. Even Lenny Acuff did not dispute that one.
Tampa.
Bacon with 13, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, make it 8 of 9.
Well, just like yesterday, Bacon didn't have the big offensive game and ended up as the top scorer with 15 points, and look at what he's doing here.
15 points. The lead is 7 with 8 seconds to go. Spartans are going to hold on for the win. Suave with a long 3, missed that one, and Bacon tracks it down and runs the clock out, and the Spartans hold on for a second win of the season. 63-56, the final score, and Tampa improves to 2-0 on the season, and the de facto winner of the Crossover Classic, as the two teams who won their games yesterday met this afternoon, and Tampa prevails. Tampa with a win over Montevallo yesterday, 63-61, wins today, 63-56. We'll see if we can get Pat Bacon over here to talk to us. Nice game for Pat. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 38 minutes of play. He and Anthony Gamble, the Ironmen.
Thank you.
That's Cedric Bellarmine here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know if you know, but it took you 2 games to get a double-double.
Oh.
We always like to surprise you guys with what your stats show. And I know you don't worry about it until you get into the locker room later. But, you worked hard. 12 points, 12 rebounds, and a nice game. First 2 games of the season, I mean, they were just nip and tuck all the way. What did you guys do to prevail in these games?
We went through a lot of plays. I mean, their plays. The coaching staff did a really good job. You know, they've been taught us since the morning how we approach the game and stuff. But we tried to play defense because this game was about defense because they were really small, so we had to move real quick.
You have made yourself very apparent that you love the inside. You want to get the buckets inside. You want to play defense inside. And what do we have? 5 blocks for the game, 5 blocks on the day. I mean, you have made yourself a presence inside. Is that your game for the most part?
I don't know because I can do a lot of things, but I'm trying to do right now what is the best for the team because we want to win. You know, like I'm gonna do whatever coach gonna ask me to do to make this happen. So I would say I'm glad this came out. You know, like I can play defense and inside, and you know I'm just glad we won.
Let me ask you about coming to Tampa, your first year here. What attracted you about the University of Tampa?
Tampa has a really good record. I mean, like in future. I mean, like the past years. I heard a lot about coach and how they help like young guys like us, you know, to get a chance to play, you know, to live with basketball. So I came here. Also, the school has a really good business school in the state. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good place, you know, to keep pushing, you know, to keep working and getting better.
What is, as far as your basketball game goes, what is it that you want to work on this year to have improved on by the time the season's over?
I would like to work more, like to be more efficient. Like when I get the ball, try to finish up like hard and not trying to lose a lot of ball, trying to cool down my head and you know like and make free throws.
It was a physical game out there today, more so than yesterday it seemed like.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cedric, congratulations, and we will talk to you as the season goes along.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Here in the postgame as the Chargers fall.
Cedric Bellarmine?
Yeah, he handed me a sweaty headset. Thank you so much, Cedric.
That happens
Appreciate
all
that.
the time.
It does. It's something. He was just a force. Again, we talked about the absence of Duke Shelton, who graduated last year, Defensive Player of the Year in the Sunshine State Conference. Obviously, he's not the same player as Duke Shelton, but Cedric Bellarmine has made an impact here in the early going.
Yeah, he's not quite as tall as Duke,
right?
And but he's certainly trying to pick up for that defensive presence.
Well, we talked about the inside and outside differences of these two teams. Tampa was driving the ball to the basket all the time, drawing fouls. In fact, went to the free throw line 17 times in the second half, 14 out of 17 from the line, 17 out of 22 overall in the game. And meantime, in the second half, only 5 free throw attempts for Alabama Huntsville. They were just 2 of 5 from the line. They were the perimeter shooting team. We knew that coming into this game. They did make 7 of 17 in this game, and Tampa just 2 out of 10 from deep. But it was the inside of Tampa winning out over the outside game, the perimeter shooting of Alabama Huntsville, and a 7-point Tampa Spartans win.
Spartans averaging 63 points a game this year. 63-61 yesterday, 63-56 today. Next up for Tampa, they're going to be on the road. They won't be home until December 1st when they start conference play, or their first home conference game against Berry. On the road now, if you like these tournaments, get ready to follow the Spartans, as next weekend they go to St. Leo in a crossover classic. They do not play St. Leo, as St. Leo came here and played 2 games not against the Spartans. It'll be West Florida next Friday up at St. Leo, and then on Saturday, Auburn-Montgomery will be playing the Spartans. Then over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, the Friday, Saturday, it'll be at Eckerd College for the Thanksgiving Classic. Minnesota State Mankato on a Friday, Virginia Union on a Saturday. Spartans do start conference play on Wednesday, November 28th, when they will be on the road at Lakeland against Florida Southern, and then finally back home Saturday, December 1st against Berry.
Well, obviously we don't know yet about Alberto Moreno. Hopefully that sprained ankle is just something that is not more serious than just, you have some treatment, you get back in action as soon as you can, but hopefully by the time the conference season starts, it's just a sprain and he's back at full strength, and hopefully it's nothing worse than that.
And we also excited about the debut of Devon Colley when that happens as well. So just getting some of those healthy players back will be
it'll be nice, won't it?
Spartans go to 2-0 with the win this afternoon over Alabama Huntsville. For Scott Lynn, this is Jack Ike saying thanks for joining us. We will not be back on the air until Saturday, December 1st against Berry. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you then.